Hello, welcome back to another episode, joined by your host, Rohit. Hope you're all doing very well. It's been quite a while actually, I think, since the last upload, if I'm not wrong. But no, I hope you guys are all doing well. And today we're going to be speaking about A levels, and specifically like the art and design A levels. Mainly like the photography and graphics one, because I did photography, graphics, and media for 2 year period in a sixth form, not a college, which I don't actually regret, which I thought I would, because a college is more independence for sure, but I do like the structure of a normal sixth form, like school type vibe, I guess. But yeah, firstly, I'm going to be covering all the AQA stuff because that's the exam board I did. And I'm just going to go over like all the assessment criteria and stuff, all the boring stuff basically, guys. But I'm going to talk about the split. So the split is quite interesting to other subjects because it is an A level. It's not a B Tech or anything like that. So it is quite demanding. But if you love it, it is the course for you. But yeah, so it's 60% coursework and 30%. It's 60% coursework and 40% exam, which it's I don't know. It's a lot of hard work on both ends because 40% isn't easy, but then again 60% isn't easy either. But one of them you're literally controlling what to do and like what sort of things to include. But the exam, you get 7 briefs and you have to choose from one of the briefs and do that for there's like a prep period of, I'm pretty sure, like 6 to 7 weeks, and then you have like a 1 week or like a 3-day schedule to do your 15-hour exam. That's how I did it. I had a week's worth of exams because I do photography and graphics, so I had to basically have all of my shoots ready and all of my editing stuff ready before I got into the exam period, because you can't do shoots or anything like that, which I find a bit not unfair, but I guess it is you have to put guidelines on anything, don't you? And you can't really be very biased on other subjects because obviously the art's very different to all of the academic subjects, I'd say. And that leads me on to the fact that we have to create our own content, whereas people can just read from textbooks. No slander to any other subjects, of course. Just a little bit of a pep for the art students, because I feel like we're very undervalued and like not appreciated that much, which we should be because we spend so much time on our work and some of it gets just shafted, which is a bit annoying. But anyway, let me get back to the assessment stages. And let me first talk about the personal investigation, which I did for photography and graphics. My God, the starting is the worst part. And what I mean by that is you're literally like, I started it in like December of 2021. So that before that 2-week holiday, I started planning for it. Just like simple mood boards and stuff. But I had no clue. And I'm a person that loves planning, and I need to like know what I'm gonna do like throughout the whole course of the year, which wasn't possible and probably isn't for a lot of you, and that's fair. But yeah, I'm just gonna try and give my best advice to how you would start the personal investigation. Definitely do a mood board and have conversations with people that are going to be like looking at your work regularly, so teachers or like whoever's going to be whoever's teaching you guys. But definitely have a mood board and make sure it's something that you want to do, like all of the ideas that you have on the mood board are like something that you can back 100%. Like all of the ideas, don't just put some in because the teacher said that, oh yeah, you should do this or anything like that. Just shouldn't be your that shouldn't be anything to gauge what you should do and shouldn't do. Because the personal investigation, clues in the name, it's a personal investigation. You have to do what you want to do. I know so many people that didn't choose what they wanted to do or like had to just go along with it because I think that was just what they were in it for, really. They didn't really care too much, but that's each to their own again. But yeah, definitely slowly start off. For graphics as well, I had to like find different editing techniques and like just include shots of them as well, because it's very hard to learn stuff on the like. It's very independent. You have to learn stuff on your own, kind of, in my opinion, because it's not like GCSEs. For GCSEs, for me, we had like regularly taught workshops for Photoshop and everything, and that didn't really happen in A levels for me because I already had that prior experience. I kind of just had to go in and bunch of YouTube tutorials. YouTube tutorials saved me so much. They were pretty much lifesavers. I can't lie. But yeah, that's what I had to do for graphics. But for photography, it was a bit different because I just started getting into like studios and lighting and everything. So it was still the first 3-4 months were photography were very tricky. But you know, it's all a part of the process. That's another thing that you really have to enjoy. Because there's going to be times when you really want to get the shot straight off the bat, but that doesn't happen. I'm pretty sure I spent 2 or 3 weeks, and this might not sound like a lot of time, refining one shoot. And I was going against like what a lot of people are advising me. They were like, you're not going to be able to do this, you're not going to be able to get this lighting correct. And it was essentially having a model looking into some perspex. So perspex is like this reflective sort of material, because apparently mirrors weren't as reflective, and I was trying to get them to look at their own reflection. And then I had like this light bar that changed, like this RGB light bar that I got off Amazon, which I spun around the person and tried to get that effect into the glass, kind of, and also just make it very surreal, basically. And it was just not very good for the first week and a bit. But then I got to thinking, because my only light source was the light bar, I was thinking, okay, if I paint over the models once and don't light them again, then it won't be blurry/shaky, because that's what the problem was. It's very blurry and shaky. But I mean, that shoot, so many people advised me not to do that, but I mean, I feel like it worked out in my favor, but it took the piss to get there, essentially. But if you have the time on your hand, this is what I'm saying, because that was early on. If you have the time to do that, because there's no better thing than refinement. Like, if you refine, the examiners are going to look at that and be like, okay, he's taken time to think about this one idea, his own idea as well at this point, and you've refined the hell out of it. Then they're going to be like, oh, props to him, like he's actually done that. But obviously, given the time frame, I would not suggest doing that in your exam, or like the prep towards your exam. Like, don't try and refine it, because at that point, I started the exam in like February. I just knew that I had to try and get a lot of stuff in, but as well as know that I can't really depend on refinement shoots. I had to get it on like sort of straight away, or like second or third shoot. You can mainly refine for like 3 shoots max, but I think refinement shouldn't be the case at all during the exam period, because you've got that whole year's worth of experience in the personal investigation, that the exam should be pretty much a breeze, as long as it's obviously going to be stressful, but you've got all of the experience and the knowledge, and you just need to back yourself, to be honest. That's what I did. Definitely back yourself. But leading back to photography, what I would do or suggest to somebody starting out, and like if they're worried about how many shoots I should do weekly, or like whatever like that, anything like that, I would suggest about 2 to 3 shoots weekly, regardless of the subject, to be honest, because if you're doing any subject, even art, like fine art, they love primary sources. And if you have access to a camera, or like just your phone, and if you want to include your own primary sources, just take a picture of like something that you're gonna draw eventually, and then put that in, print it out, and stick it in. They're gonna love that even more, because they love primary sources more than secondary sources, because you've taken the time out and gone and took photos instead of just finding something off Google and sticking it in. Like, that's to put it simply. But yeah, the exam bottles love that. So do the teachers. So they'll eat that up. So make sure you do something like that. I would suggest, even if you can't do it for like weekly or anything like that, just here and there. Like, even if you've got a little bit, and then in the annotations, which are very important. Yes, I know. nobody likes doing annotations, in my opinion, because, oh my God, you're writing for days. But I'll get onto that in a sec. But you can explain that in your annotations as well. You can say, okay, I've done this, I've gone out and done this, and made it more personal and meaningful to me because I took this at this place, so and so, etc. You get the gist, basically. But yeah, annotations, right? What a lovely topic. Yeah, very important. Mainly because I would suggest just think of the examiner as like somebody that knows nothing about photography. I know this is the weirdest advice, but think of it as somebody that's literally never done photography before, not into the industry at all, and you're explaining it to someone like that. If you base your annotations like that and explain why you did such things like this and the techniques that you've done and stuff like that, they will love it because you've literally given them a guideline of what to do and how you got to the result. And especially if you put like arrows and stuff towards your pictures and stuff, as well as the annotations, then they're gonna love that as well because you've shown step by step how to get to the end result, which is just, yeah, they're gonna go crazy for it, in my opinion. But yeah, annotations are very important. Please do try keep on top of that. And it's not like you have to don't sit there annotating every single page or slide or whatever you're working on. Don't do that. But the main pieces of work that you want to annotate, and you can say a lot about, do that because that's the most important thing. You don't want to annotate something that's like, to be fair, you can annotate failed shoots, but don't annotate something that you feel like you have to, or you feel like you're just doing it for the sake of it, because then you're just going to waffle, and that's not what the exam board wants, even though they'll know that it's waffle as well, and so will your teachers. But also, if you've thrown together like shoots, so like let's say like you've just thrown together a shoot in like 2 or 3 hours before submission or deadline, something like that, which honestly just chat a bunch of crap about it, like just say that, oh yeah, I did this because there's a deeper meaning, I feel like it connects with like my soul or something. Like say something genuinely just that they're not going to expect, because they'll think like, oh my God, oh wow, that's so deep. Like they'll love that as well, even though you did not intend for that at all. But you might as well pretend and like, because you're the producer, you get to make the preferred reading. The dominant reading is all up to you. The consumer's only gonna take in what you've given them. So literally just say whatever you want to say. Really, that's what I would do. I don't recall doing that for any shoots. I think I did it for a few, very few, because I did have some like last minute shoots. But also that try and stay on top of shoots so you don't have to throw it like last minute, because that's always the worst. Even if there's no planning for it, just try and avoid that. Just schedule a time where you're going to do a shoot and stuff like that, so that it's a bit less of a workload on you. But yeah, no. But I just wanted to go back to the fact that in the first year, like, do keep in mind, I had like 3 months ish before we started the personal investigation to like get more techniques and like acknowledge more, just read up on more stuff on like camera techniques, everything, settings, etc. So do keep in mind that you're not going to know everything from the get-go, and that's plain and simple. So, and don't try and think that you should know everything, because it's such a long journey. You have to learn so much, and it's not going to all happen straight away. You'll look at your personal investigation when you come to submitting it, and you're like, wow, I've progressed so much. And yeah, that is going to be the case, because through that 1 year you develop so much more skills, and you're consistently learning more and adding more stuff that you want to learn about, and like the techniques, everything just develops. So don't take that as a sign of, oh, why am I not producing my best? You've got so much time. Honestly, you've got so much time. I didn't produce my best work until the end, and then you go into the exam period feeling like you're really good because you can see the progression, and it's crazy. I look at some of my pieces, and I'm like, right, well, I've come a long way. I used to literally just shoot on auto. I didn't even used to put it on manual, I'll be honest. But bad. Please don't do that. Try and shoot on manual whenever you can. Just literally just play about with the settings. You don't even have to like in the get go like just play about with the settings. But obviously, ISO at 100 at all times if you can. Try to avoid grain unless you're going for that. A little photography tip. I will be posting a whole podcast about photography as well for all my viewers that are interested in that. So that's coming. Stay tuned for that. Anyway, quick little plug, side note. But yeah, just keep looking for things as well, like anything that interests you throughout the year, just to incorporate into the project, because I feel like it's a very important thing. Like, don't just stay so focused on the personal investigation on what you're doing. Like, always keep looking at more artwork and try to get inspired by more and more things. I would suggest what I did. I kept finding things that were just completely irrelevant to my personal investigation, because I had no idea what I was actually doing technically until like halfway through the year, or to be fair, near the end actually. That's when we pieced the whole personal investigation together. So if you don't know what your theme is, don't worry. A lot of people don't, and they won't until the end. And that's perfectly fine. But what I did essentially was I kept piecing stuff together and just started bringing in loads of techniques, but it didn't necessarily make sense at the time. But in the annotations, this is why annotations come in clutch, guys. In the annotations, I said that this is to do with this and this is to do with that, and then made it all flow together, and then made it all correlate. And they were like, "Oh, okay, you know what? You've thought about this. We're gonna give you this." And I was like, "Okay, yeah. What can I say?" So yeah, definitely just try and incorporate things, even if it doesn't make sense at the time, because I'm sure, worst case scenario, if you have to remove it, you've got amazing photos that you can just keep for your personal portfolio. Another thing. There will be a way that you can try and make it make sense, because it's all down to you really. You can pull a lot of strings, basically, is what I would suggest. I think, yeah, that's the main thing for that. But yeah, definitely just keep looking into more stimuluses and just trying to see if it would like add to your project or like it would take away. Like, also try and get everything on the same caliber towards the end when you're consistently producing high quality content and work. That's when you should think like, oh, okay, will this doing this artist actually add to my work, or will it take away? And when I say take away, I only mean it in aesthetic terms. There's not a bad artist or anything like that. There's only like people that don't like your art, and that's fine, because not everybody should. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but you shouldn't care. It's all about creating work for you and what you think looks good. So yeah, just try and be selective with what you choose, is what I would suggest. But yeah, leading on from that, that reminds me of like stressful it can be, especially in times of where like strikes were happening for me, especially. That's when I can think about it. When teachers don't agree with you as well. Oh my God, that happened to me so much. Your teachers aren't going to agree with you on everything, by the way, because they're going to go off of the mark scheme and you're going to go off what looks good. And they're both very important, don't get me wrong, but the teachers, for me personally, felt like they could have more of a say on my work than me, which it's a personal investigation. Come on now. But yeah, so what to do when things get overwhelming, or like it just gets quite intense, because I had a creative burnout for like a week or two during, when was it now? I think it was like, I'm pretty sure it was just before the exam or during the exam, which either way it wasn't good. But I had multiple burnouts during the personal investigation as well, because you're churning out so many ideas that it does get very overwhelming, especially when teachers don't agree with you as well. So you're just like, you're putting out work, and the teachers are like, yeah, you could do this, but you could do that, and then it's just an endless cycle of like, oh, it's good work. They'll say it's good work, but then you'll be like, oh, there's a but though, isn't there? And don't take that as you being put down. Like, just use that to improve. Honestly, like, I've had that so many times, and I create better work just to prove people wrong. So definitely take that as motivation, and just to step your level up again, because there's always room for improvement. But even if it isn't worded that nicely, or they think that you could be doing this and they ask why you've done this and you just think it looked cool, or like you wanted to do it at the time, but it's not as simple as that. And yeah, sometimes they're not going to agree with you, but hopefully if you do get to a compromise, then that's the best for both parties, because it's pointless arguing and it's just more stress and pressure for everyone. Like, it's just unneeded tension. But I had that up until the exams and everything like that. But just use it as fuel, honestly. Like, that's what I did, and it made me create some of my best pieces of work, honestly. Like, I feel like that's the thing that happens a lot in life. People are going to doubt you, and not to get this like into a motivational speech or anything, but people are going to doubt you, and people are going to say you can't do this or that, and like, yeah, it's all just a bunch of crap, really, isn't it? If you have it in here, like, and you can say it with chest, there's nothing stopping you from doing it. The only person stopping you is you. You shouldn't care what other people think, especially in the art world. Don't care what other people think. Take notice of it, but don't care about it enough to change what you stand for, what you think your art should look like, because that's not the case. You'll get so many people critiquing you, but that shouldn't matter at all to you. In some aspects, I guess you should care about it a little bit if you're trying to better yourself in some areas, like if you want to take better photos and stuff. But critiques that think that you're just doing ass, most likely they're just jealous of you and just think that you're doing better than them, if I'm honest. But yeah, that's another thing, comparison. Ooh, that's a slippery path, that is. Comparison is the thief of joy, to be honest, to put it lightly. I did this a lot. You compare yourself with so many other people, regardless if that's in the same subject or whatever, but in photography, arts in general, you compare your workload because you create the content, right? So you see somebody else, like, because we did everything on like PowerPoint, you see somebody else with like 300, 400 slides, and you're sat on like 150 or 200, and you're like, oh wow, they're really ahead and they're doing better than me, and all that, blah blah blah. Oh, it's just a bunch of crap, lads. It's not legit. Like, it firstly doesn't even matter. I know that sounds easy. That's easier said than done. But it really doesn't, because you're both on different paths, and it shouldn't dictate your workload and how you work, because regardless of how many slides or anything like that, it's about the quality, not the quantity. And if you're producing quality work each time you shoot and they haven't done that, then I'd say you're doing better than them. But it's still not a comparison. You don't need to be saying that you're doing better than them. You should just be like, oh, I'm doing good for myself. I think that's where a lot of problems occur, when people start comparing themselves with other people in their class or stuff like that. And to be fair, I did it a lot mainly because my grade didn't. I don't know if. I think until my like last exam. So the last, like, they do like this like spreadsheet type thing on where you can improve and stuff. I had that just before I went into the exam period. I was still on a C. I came out with an A, but I was still on a C before. So I was still on a C in April of this year. And I thought, wow, okay, well, I've put in so much work and I haven't got the like rewards from it. But then I went into the exam period and I smashed it. But I technically was already on a B, apparently, in the personal investigation. I just didn't get told. So that's fun. But yeah, anyway, leading back to the questions, if teachers have different ideas from you as well, just take note of it. But also, it is your own work and it is your own call on what is good and what isn't. They also want to help, because the mark scheme is very, very stupid. Because you can't grade art. I've said this time and time again, you really can't. All art is amazing in someone's eyes, so how are you grading it? Stupid. AQA, fix up. Anyway, little rant over. But yeah, there will be like a period of time 100% where you have like a creative block, because I did, and everybody does, and you'll intensify the situation by putting yourself in like a creative. Not wait, hang on. You'll intensify the situation by putting yourself under more pressure because of the time frame. You'll say, "Oh no, I've only got 3-4 weeks to finish this. I've only got 2-3 months." It doesn't matter. Take that day off. Take however long that you need off. There's nothing. No. There's nothing more important than your mental health. If you're burnt out and you can't churn out ideas, then no. Education doesn't come before your mental health. So keep that in mind before anything. Like, if you burn out, then chill. Literally chill. I don't know if your teacher will advise you the same thing, but I advise you to chill, because that's what I did and that's what I needed and that's what worked. So there will be 100% like a time where you have a creative block, and that's fine. We all, like, it's the same as writer's block. We all have ideas, but we're not going to have them all the time, and sometimes we're not going to have the energy to keep thinking of new ideas, especially when some doesn't work out. So don't feel guilty at all for having time periods where you create minimal work or like none at all. Just everybody needs a break, so just remember that. To everyone out there, please take a break. There's literally nothing worse than being drained, and please just take a break. Especially in the arts, like, it's very demanding. Nobody really speaks about it on the internet. But A-levels especially, and you're still going through the transition from GCSEs to A-levels. My God, it's a big jump. People may say, "Oh, it's only 3 subjects. It's only 3 subjects," and all that. But no, yeah, it's bad. It's very bad, especially if you're doing 2 creative subjects or even 1 creative subject. Like, all the teachers think that you just have free time. You just have free time to do things, and like my teachers were like, "Oh yeah, are you gonna come in your free periods and do?" I was like, "Yeah, sure," but I still have to revise for my other subject. Like, it's like, I don't know. It's, each teacher is gonna find their faculty important, aren't they? But you only have so much time, and you can only spread so much of your time across 3 things. So, just make sure you space out your time as well. Try and like do that at the beginning of the year. I'd say as soon as you get your timetable, try and see where you can fit things in, and definitely do work outside of school for your art subjects, or just even in your free periods or anything like that. Like, that's what's gonna set you out from the people that just pass with a C to the top achievers. If you're trying to get into those higher grade bands, then definitely just put more quality work in it, and just outwork people, basically. And when I say that, I don't mean compare your work ethic or compare how they're doing to you. Just outwork people in terms of putting more time in. Like, if people aren't putting that much time in, you do the difference. Like, you put in more time, and putting in more time will reap more rewards. It will just take longer. It might seem like an uphill battle at the beginning, but that always happens, and that just means you're making progress. Like, don't worry about that. Just keep going and set out what you need to achieve, and you will do it. Like, honestly, that's what I recommend. And if there's anybody that says that, oh yeah, I don't really think you're going to be able to do that, or like someone like that, prove them wrong. Literally just prove them wrong. Don't say anything to them. The best revenge is just proving them wrong, really. Just show that you can do it. I did a water shoot inspired by Bill Viola, and the teachers, and I'm pretty sure some classmates were like, "Oh, I don't think you'll be able to do that. I don't think you'll be able to get the same effect as the artist, or like even close to that." I'll try and put up some photos if I can. But I did exactly that. I got the photo, got a video as well, and I proved them wrong. I got the desired outcomes, in my opinion. I'd say you have to be a little bit delusional. And when I say that, I mean it in the best possible way, because it's better to be delusional than lower your expectations for anybody. Don't let anyone say you can't achieve something just because it's like done by an artist with years of experience. I had a year of experience technically in studio and everything. That didn't stop me from doing stuff. that didn't stop me from putting the work in. So I just think that's a bit of a cop out answer, in my opinion, to say that you can't do something because the artist has done it better, and I don't really see you getting the same outcomes. I just think use that as fuel, man. Like, I was gassed when people were saying that. I was like, oh, right, yeah, cool, yeah, fair enough, yeah, I think you're right. And then a week later, I came back and I showed them it, and they were all like, oh, well, they literally, they were so gobsmacked that they couldn't believe that I'd got the shots. So it's just crazy, in my opinion. And that's the best sort of revenge. Like, if you can do that, then what's stopping you? And then that'll give you motivation to do things in the future as well, without needing any motivation from other people, even if it's negative. But yeah, no, just don't lower your expectations for anyone, because in this field as well, it's so hard because there's so many people critiquing you and so many people have their opinions, but you just have to push through all that and then give yourself the 100% each day. Because if you're doing what you love, that's the main thing. That's the only thing. But yeah, that's what I'd recommend for that. Because some of my best work came from proving people wrong, which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I would just suggest don't retaliate with your words, but with your work. That's a quote and a half, isn't it? That's a banger. Jeez, might have to put that on a Pinterest board. That's actually a banging quote. Anyway, yeah, there's gonna be plenty of people telling you, just you can't do that, you can't do this, but prove them wrong. And if you ever feel like, can you make this into a career and stuff like that, or is this gonna be like, could I make this into a proper business? Yes, you can. 100% you can. But there will also, I guarantee people will also be telling you that, nah, you can't and you won't be able to do this and that. And it just, no. Trust me, you will be able to. And the market isn't oversaturated. The market isn't saturated. Don't let anything like that discourage you, because this is such a growing market and people will always be needed. So definitely just give it your all, 100%. Don't be worried if people are like, oh, you won't be able to make money from this, you won't be able to do that, because I've had family members say that, and I'm still backing myself to do this. I haven't had a career change or anything like that, so I don't really think that it should matter. And it's the hardest when it's from family as well. So if I'm saying that from family, if it's from anyone else, just keep doing you, man. That's the best thing to do. But I also wanted to speak about how the arts aren't as respected as other subjects in A-levels. Don't let that make you down either. But it is very true though. Like it's not disrespected, but I feel like through the funding, through everything, and people just think, oh, you're just taking photos, it can't be that hard. Like, oh my God, come on now, man. Everybody that's in the art field knows how painful the process to take photos are. Like, even if it's a simple photo, like, you could spend hours on end. If you want to get your best content out there, you're going to spend time on it. So yeah, no, I don't like how disrespected the arts are, but what can you do? It is quite sad to see, but it is what it is at the end of the day. And hopefully, as time goes on, the arts become more important and more valuable in society as well as in schools, because I feel like they're very I feel like they do get insulted a lot. So yeah, hopefully that can change. All in good time. But yeah. But yeah, if anybody has any other questions or anything like that, please do comment down below or reach out to me and I shall reply to you guys, because I do want to help you get through the 2 years of A-levels, because it is a bit of a slog, but it is all worth it in the end, guys. And when you come out with the grades that you deserve, it is a very good feeling. But yeah, that's it for this episode. I'll see you on the next one, guys.